How you doing? It's Wednesday, baby. It's Wednesday. It's the midweek hump, and we all love a midweek hump. You're looking absolutely amazing. I'm going to get straight into the meat and potatoes and keep this short and sweet because this is technically part 2 of a video that I did the other day that no fucker watched. But but it's part of the story, so I'm following it up. Because for those of you who did see it, you will know that Charlie Kirk had come over to the UK, and he had debated some students at Oxford. Oxford, where the posh people go, where all of those who are better than the other people, they all go for their schooling. And sometimes they get in a boat and do a boat race against Cambridge. That's what they do. It sounds exciting. Sounds shit. But anyway, yeah, so there's been some controversy around it because one of the people who go to this prestigious school that is supposed to be a school that is seen and idolised for its debating skills on the world stage, well, one of them people, his name is George, his name is George Aberonier, not to be mistaken with George Agadagwenge from Phonejacker. Hi, I'm calling from your bank. Not that guy. Completely fucking different person. Because it says George, he was going to be president. He was going to be not like Donald Trump, not that sort of thing. It just holds a role within the school so people can look up to him and be like, oh. He has been removed as Oxford Union's president-elect following his comments celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. When we did the video the other day, that was kind of in the air what was going to happen. They were going to hold a vote because some people had pointed at him and said, oh, fucking hell, you can't do that, mate. Not in your position. Not in your position, mate. So it says the disgraced Oxford University student lost the vote of no confidence by a landslide at 70%. Final voting figures revealed in a letter shared with this newspaper show just 501 had confidence in the president-elect, while 1,228 voted to boot him out. And this is actually reported by thisoxfordshire.co.uk. A total of 1,746 took part in the vote, both in person and by proxy, with 17 spoilt or void, what means that some people just wiped their arse on it. I would imagine that they're people who are brought in by DEI. Just kidding. Donovan Locke, returning officer, said in a statement, the president-elect is deemed to have resigned, subject to the procedural timelines. However, in a statement, George Agadagwenge said the poll was compromised by untested regulations, and he alleged people campaigning to oust him had unsupervised access to the email account collecting proxy votes. In other words, he's saying that he was fucked over and there was some cheating. Proceedings in the count were informally suspended on Monday morning due to an impossible working atmosphere. The extraordinary returning officer was allegedly subjected to obstruction, intimidation, and unwarranted hostility by a number of representatives, a notice signed by the returning officer stated. Meanwhile, it has been reported that the Oxford Union has faced a financial crisis with sums up to £500,000 being put on hold ahead of the crucial vote. And prominent figures have also come forward to say they had pulled out of speaking at the debating society because of George Agadagwenge's position. I do keep getting them muddled up. Just because their names are so close. Thousands of members were eligible to take part in the no-confidence vote, which was open for in-person voting between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. on Saturday, as well as for members to submit votes by proxy. Mr. George, who became president-elect of the historic debating society after a vote earlier this year, faced controversy after Charlie Kirk was shot dead at a Utah Valley University event in September in what US authorities called a political assassination. Mr. Kirk, a 31-year-old father of two, was a Donald Trump ally and co-founder and chief executive of the right-wing youth organization Turning Point USA. In one message to fellow students in a WhatsApp chat, Mr. George wrote Charlie Kirk got shot, let's fucking go. While another on his Instagram account read Charlie Kirk got shot, laugh out loud. Well, laugh out loud. In a statement last month, the Oxford Union condemned his remarks and said complaints filed against Mr. George had been forwarded for disciplinary proceedings. In a social media post that is no longer public, Mr. George said he had submitted a motion of confidence in himself in an attempt to reclaim true accountability and reaffirm that the Oxford Union must remain a place where students can make mistakes, apologise sincerely, and learn from them. Posting on social media last week, Oxford Stand Up to Racism said Mr. George has faced a tirade of racist abuse online since. Oh, bless him. Maybe that's because he laughed and joked about the assassination of another person. As Charlie Kirk would say, play certain games, win certain prizes. And yes, I am someone who wants to promote, and I can come off that now, that is pretty much how that ends, to promote freedom of speech. But freedom of speech doesn't come without consequences if what you say is a little bit of a twattish thing to say. Do you know what I mean? There have been people in the UK, literally in the UK, that have, and let's just put this into context, right? Because the UK is fucked up anyway. It's a messed up place. So you have a load of children who are killed, right, by an individual. They're killed. And that causes massive upset. Massive upset. And one particular individual who's a mum who had previously lost a child through medical negligence, she loses a child, her husband's ill, she's got another child, and in the aftermath of the deaths, the brutal murder of children, she goes online and puts a post that is, it's not even like you guys in the USA. You have a different stance on things from a legal perspective. And that is your freedom of speech. Say if you're going to get pulled over the coals for incite violence, you would physically have to say, I want us to go to this place at this time and do this action. That would then lead you in the shit. In the UK, very different. You can just say, I don't care if something happens. If these people, if something happens to them, that will land you 3 years in prison. But this motherfucker can go on to social media or whatever, and he can laugh and joke and take the piss out of someone who is executed. And there's no reason for that. There's no, he hadn't lost a child, and Charlie Kirk was talking about something that truly fucking affected him on that much of a personal level. This is to do with political beliefs and political, left versus right bollocks. Because some people are too thick as shit to understand that it don't matter what side of the fence you're on, you're getting shafted either way. It just means that someone else is shafting you in a different way. And I mean that respectfully, and because we've seen it for fucking decades here. Do you know what I mean? There's always someone being shafted. Just the goalpost moves slightly and someone else gets shafted. But this shows you, yes, freedom of speech. We should all have freedom of speech. But if you're going to say certain things, then there are going to be repercussions. And you would think that George Agadakwenge, I'm calling from your bunk, you would think because he goes to such a prestigious school, so surely they're teaching him something, he would have fucking learnt that. You would think he would know. Sadly not. Maybe that education that he's getting from there, which I don't know whether he's paying for it himself or someone's paying for it for him, maybe that money could have been better off spent elsewhere, because it don't seem to have done him a lot of good. Let me know down below what you think. Love you all, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Mwah.